Before we kick off today's episode, a quick word from our sponsor, the Prego Expo. If you are a new or expecting parent looking for the ultimate baby and parenting event, mark your calendar for the Prego Expo in New York City on March 8th and 9th. This is your chance to connect with top baby brands, discover must-have products, and get expert parenting advice, all in one place. Plus, don't miss out on exclusive giveaways, VIP experiences, and special deals just for attendees. And because you're a Running Wine Mom listener, you'll get 20% off your tickets with code Samantha20 at thepregoexpo.com. Grab your tickets now and get ready to celebrate this exciting stage of parenthood. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Selinsky, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, we're diving into the world of culinary travel, family adventures, and all things Hamptons with a guest who truly does it all. Vanessa Gordon is a CEO and publisher of East End Taste Magazine, the creator of the acclaimed Hamptons Interactive Brunch, a certified fitness instructor, and a sought-after expert on family travel and personal finance. From being featured in top-tier publications to curating unforgettable events, Vanessa brings a unique blend of creativity, elegance, and practicality to everything she touches. In this episode, we'll explore Vanessa's journey of building her digital media empire, her tips for sustainable travel and Hamptons living, and the story behind her wildly popular brunch event that's become a summer staple. Plus, we'll get to know the woman behind the brand, her favorite travel destinations, what keeps her grounded, and maybe even her guilty pleasures. Whether you're a travel enthusiast, a foodie, or simply someone looking for a fresh perspective, this conversation is packed with insights, laughter, and a touch of that irresistible Hamptons magic. Without further ado, let's welcome Vanessa. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Samantha, so much for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited. So to start each episode, we have our wine, and Win of the Week segment. That is where we share our favorite bottle of wine, vent about something that's been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So Vanessa, what is your WINE of the week?
Yes, I've been enjoying ice wine from out here from Wolfer Estate. I was actually introduced to their ice wine in 2020, right at the very beginning of the year. So it was a really, really lovely. I actually went to a Merlot wine dinner, and at the end, we finished off with ice wine. And ever since then, I tell people, if you love traditional, like perhaps dessert wine or like a Riesling, it's really sweet Riesling, you'll give this a try.
Yeah, I've only had ice wine, I think once. We went on to Niagara on the Lake, like right outside of Niagara Falls, probably around 2020, right before there maybe. And it was really so different. I really liked it. So what is your WHINE of the week?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been interesting. So it's actually been interesting I'm fresh on the dating scene, I guess so to say. And after being in a marriage for well over a decade. And It's funny is the stories that are now coming out from people who are in this scene, so to say, as well. And I was out last night with one of my close girlfriends and some of her friends. And we were just chatting about just everything, the crazy just stories you hear. So it's just literally a table of us just sharing these outrageous scenarios, perhaps. And they never cease to amaze me. The latest one was this guy went on a date with this woman, and at the end, she wanted takeout. She wanted him to pay for takeout as well. And then somehow he later found out that takeout was for her main squeeze, her boyfriend.
Oh my gosh.
So freaking weird. And then I guess there's this app called T I found out about where it's for women. It's an app specifically for women that they post men that they've had very shady dating experiences with. I'm typing all these names. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, don't do this. My husband and I, we dated a little bit pre-dating apps. Like, I feel like they were coming out when we were dating, and I'm always like, I wonder how that would be. And then I'll talk to people and they're like, no, it's just so bizarre.
That's what I'm learning.
But I'm sure there's some good ones.
There are. What's funny is I'm surprised they've had actually really, really good luck. So far. I mean, but then again, I'm just casually just browse. It's called you're just browsing.
Yeah.
I'm not here to buy anything. I'm just browsing. That's really what I'm doing. So it's okay. But I think if you have that mindset, perhaps don't take anything seriously. I'm learning very quickly. You're not going to get hurt, but also you also never know what could come about. But I'm also in an industry
you'll have
too
a lot
where
of stories.
Oh, for sure. I meet people all the time. So that's probably what's going to happen. But Also
Right.
trying to find out what I don't like too.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will turn into a win. But what is your win of the week?
My win of the week is, let's see, there's there's a few good ones, but I'm actually really excited to write I was just assigned another article for Parents Magazine that's actually going to, speaking of divorce, focus on that. I guess Jessica Alba recently filed for divorce. It was brought to my
Okay.
attention, Jessica Simpson as well. So the story will potentially delve into that angle, and then these long-term relationships and why, mostly they're now falling apart, but why are they unraveling now? So we're going to explore that in
Yeah.
the piece.
I mean, I feel like with a lot of my friends that it's gone through, it's like 2020 kind of gave you that like reconnection that you didn't know you wanted, or it either
Yeah,
helped people or didn't. And then all of a sudden it kind of just like snowballed into a lot
that's
of
what I think
people I
happened.
know getting separated,
Absolutely.
which is hopefully a good thing, that
Sometimes you
instead
need
of
those
10 more
moments.
years. Yeah.
Right.
So, what is one significant challenge you've successfully navigated to kind of shape your journey to where you are today?
Definitely. So it's interesting is I've always perhaps been someone that's always enjoyed working behind the scenes. I started off actually in creative writing many years ago, and I still do actually writing a series of poems at the moment. Haven't done that in years. And I actually wrote a
Ooh.
poem last night out of a whim, and I just sent it to a girlfriend of mine in Italy to ensure that my Italian translation was on par. So she just read it over, and she's like, "You wrote this?" And I said, "I did." And she's like, I didn't want to tell her. I didn't even tell her that I wrote it in like less than 20 minutes. But it's
Wow.
fascinating when I guess what it so to say is not to boast with it, but like when you're so deep in this moment, I only write when I'm very, very deep in emotion. And so anyway, I digress. With that being said, I'm just so used to, like I said, behind the scenes. But the biggest challenge I actually had was coming, per se, in front of the camera, putting my, a face to a name and moving, my, digital business where I'm so comfortable writing and not being bothered with all the hoopla and nonsense of a lot of these, again, putting yourself out there for all to see and creating, the event series that I've created, the Hamptons Interactive Brunch. But even in addition to that, is attending a lot of these events out in the Hamptons, in New York City, and all over the world, really, and becoming, the face of my brand, but also, curating a personal brand organically. And it's interesting. Is people are like, what do you mean a personal brand? And I try to I explain to them in the best way possible. Perhaps it's when people identify you, the individual, and then you reflect your business. When it's the opposite way, it's you're behind the scenes in your business. But now when people see it's a face to what you do now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
had the pleasure to interview so many authors, and they
yeah,
all have the kind of a similar um, outlook. Like they're like, I hate speaking in front of people. I hate being in
yes,
front of everything. I love to be like behind. So I can only
hmm
imagine how hard it is to, just doing, like I was saying, doing research on you. It seems like you have such a great personality and great fashion, and you're doing exactly what you're saying, a face that people will remember for sure.
absolutely. I mean, but we all too have to remember is that. As silly as this is, like I know that I'll be attending some events at the end of this month in Manhattan before I head off to Switzerland for a week. And what's interesting is you always have to be aware of how you present yourself. For instance, I'll tell you, even this morning, I'm just being like, I had to go to a networking breakfast this morning in Manhattan. I was so exhausted. I did not want to do full makeup. I didn't want to, I was going to curl my hair, and I needed that extra rest, of course, because I was out until like 1 a.m. with everybody, talking about our, the crazy dating experiences. But then, I get the photo back. It was just uploaded to bfa.com, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I look a little tired. I think I could do a little better. I
Yeah.
really have to keep pushing myself to make sure that I always put, I look fine. I mean, I look fine, very, very critical myself, but I always want to make sure, once again, it truly is worth that investment to put your very best foot forward.
Yeah, right. Well, that's awesome. You're doing a great job with that. So, the Running Wine Mom, we start off with a little fitness. What is your favorite way to stay active?
You know what's funny is I noticed online. I'm curious to get this. It's that new like a ski simulator type workout. So I am looking at that. I'd love to hear if anyone has tried that or what they think. It's called something's name ski, and it actually
Okay.
looks like it does what it, as someone who taught fitness classes for 5, 6 years. Other than that, I'll tell you, I swear by the fundamentals. And what do I mean by that? Stretching, 5 minutes in the morning and 5, 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening. It's so important. Squats are phenomenal. I do, traditional push-ups. Right now, my goal is like doing 35 full, when I mean full, meaning nose to the floor push-ups a day. Sit-ups, planks. Again, swear by that. You'll hit training. But Pilates has been really the one that I've been sticking with, and trying to dive deeper into it more and do more reformer work.
Yeah. That's what this past year, I really tried to stick to doing reformer 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And I feel like it changed my whole core like I've never had in my entire life.
That's
It's
wonderful.
lovely. Yeah. So how does maintaining your own fitness routine contribute to your understanding of the relationship between mental health and physical fitness?
Yes, what's interesting is it helps keep everything on track, so to say. So I always notice that once my workout routine falls by the wayside, my mental health, I start to delve into things or focus on things or preoccupy myself with whatever it may be, whether it's scrolling on social media or just becoming very, very, say, obsessed with, I don't like that word, but fixated on something. And you just become so distracted. And you're like, instead of me sitting here on my phone for like 25 minutes, a half hour, I could have been on my bike. I could have been doing something else. So it truly is so, so important. Is the one thing that I'm doing now. My phone does not go on my end table anymore when I go to bed or get up in the morning. And I don't look at social media now. I have a rule, not until 10 in the morning.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
10 in the morning. And it's at night. It's tough. It's tough. I'll be honest. I'm working on it. It's usually, right like 15 minutes before I go to bed. I know.
Yeah.
Working
Well, it's
on it.
better than, you're working on it. That's all that you could do, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So let's get into a little bit of parenthood. Tell us about your family.
Yes, I have two beautiful children. I have an 11-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. I'm so proud of both of them. My son, we both do jujitsu, and I'm so proud that he's diving into those classes. And it's quite incredible how they don't realize how it teaches discipline and positive work ethic, and it's really, really incredible. My daughter does ice skating, and my son does as well. And my daughter also does ballet.
Wow, that's great. What do you think you were least prepared for in parenthood?
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! This like little thing like I'll never didn't real just oh my gosh. I mean, for me, like breastfeeding was hard with my daughter. My son was a little bit easier. All these things that you would think that would come so easily. No, there's no real preparation per se until you're in that moment. And then with both my pregnancies, I had something called hypermesis, which is severe morning sickness. People may perhaps know the current Princess of Wales had it for all three for pregnancies. So
Right.
that made headlines. So yes, I had that. And yes, it is horrendous.
Ugh,
So I had that.
stinks.
So of course I thought, oh, morning sickness, you get sick in the morning and go
Right.
about your merry way. What? Lie? That's a lie. That's
Yeah.
So those are the two big things that, yeah, no, I was not prepared.
That's got to be terrible. What do you think your parenting style is?
What's interesting is I was interviewed about this a little while ago, and I would say it really comes down to, I don't exactly recall the exact terminology right away, but I will say that I let my children for the most part, try to ascertain or make the best decisions on their own without having to consult me, and following through with them and learning from those actions. One of the, when they get, so for example, I'm very proud that when they get up in the morning, they know before they come upstairs to wake me up, because they have the breakfast club in the morning. So they're on the bus at 7 in the morning as elementary school children. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
so that's rough. And I'm up usually until about 11 o'clock at night working. So I need my full like 8 hours of sleep or more. Is I'm very proud that they will pack their snack bag. They will brush their teeth. They'll do whatever they have to do, get dressed. The one that working on is just all these little basic skills of just folding, simple folding, unraveling your socks before you put them in the hamper. Again, still working on, still working there.
Yeah.
But trying to create that order of, discipline. Like I'm not, a helicopter parent where I'm like, okay, we have, this, that, and the other thing. No, I really take, I step away and I say, okay, I'm ready for bed, Mom. Are you? Did you brush your teeth? Floss your teeth? Do what you gotta do. You put your homework. And if they forget their homework, like I got a call this morning from the school. I was in Manhattan. I couldn't really help out, but my son forgot his laptop, and I'm like, tough. Got a laptop. Gotta learn from it. Is I remember my parents were way more, I guess helicopter style hands on, and I don't think that
Yeah.
helped me.
As you were talking, I was thinking my parents really were like helicopter-ish to me too. Just they did my mom did my laundry like even through college, and then my like made my lunch every day till I graduated high school. And we're definitely more like giving our kids the responsibilities at such a young age, and it gives them like such good self-esteem too, I
It
think.
does.
And as an adult, they're going to be more prepared than I was
Certainly,
anyway.
I can't make this up. I remember I've met people, I would say in their late teens, early 20s that still didn't even know how to crack an egg. I have
Wow.
seen that. And
Oh my
among
gosh.
other
Well, my
things,
4-year-old does know how to do that.
that's great. I mean, just
I
little
know.
things like I was trying to teach my son about scrambled eggs. Like, how do you know? He's like, they're cooking, Mom. And like, you got to move them around. Scrambled. That's why, like,
That's the whole point.
exactly.
Yeah. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to other parents?
Don't stress yourself per se, but do make the time to spend with them, especially without electronics and all these opportunities for overstimulation. Really try to cut that off as much as possible. The one, and I think back to memories that I have. I know that my parents were very busy and worked, and we didn't necessarily spend as much perhaps quality time as I would have liked. I'm just just being very, very honest. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but it's the truth. We have to say it. But anyway, with that being said, I want my children to have those memories of us playing board games together, us watching a movie together. It can be something as simple as like, my son wants to watch a Disney movie, and it's just a matter of just sitting next to him without your phone and
Yeah.
watching the movie and
Yeah.
talking about it throughout, if you want, throughout, little things like that. And that's what they really appreciate. And sometimes, like if they want to bake, I don't know, cookies or bread or whatever it may be. It, really doesn't, sometimes I get so wrapped up in something and I realize like I could be working on projects for hours because I work from home. But, I literally force stop myself and take those, sometimes it's as simple as 20 minutes to a half hour. That's fully satisfying for them. And then they're off on their way playing their independent games. And then I could go back to what I'm doing.
Well, that is great advice. And that next, we are going to talk about you and all that you do. So you wear many hats.
Yes.
You are an entrepreneur, writer, event creator. What kind of sparked your journey into the world of lifestyle, food, and travel?
Yes, it was that strong desire to perhaps be at the helm of my own entity, so to say. So East End Taste started off as a passion project in 2016, and then it became a full fledged business in 2018. And I really enjoyed every aspect, and I loved learning. I was very curious in the beginning. I was not afraid to ask questions and align myself with the right individuals. And what do I mean by the right individuals? I'm very grateful that living in the Hamptons, there's so many people that are so so skilled in their industries, and they've been around. They've been doing this for so long, whatever industry that is, and many of them are retired. They've again doing this for a long time, and I was never afraid to ask questions, to put myself forward. And again, like we were saying before, is jumping out of that comfort zone. Never did I want to be, doing speaking engagements or that. Oh my gosh. I mean, no, now, that's totally changed, but I feel very, very comfortable because once again, I've aligned myself with the right individuals in the right settings who I honestly believed in me. I mean, they weren't, they gave me advice and they're like, okay, no, run along now and do it. They didn't hold my hand at all. I know where I have to invest my time. I know where I have to invest my time in the web, the website and the digital, media component is, at the forefront. It's the website always. And I've always believed that. In social media, there's, it's the algorithm. I mean, the website has algorithms too with SEO and such. Oh, you should be doing more reels. Now that's a whole other conversation, perhaps for another day. But those are an investment. I mean, an investment in time, resources. Yeah. And I do appreciate what those individuals do to create the one reel. I mean, that could take a day, even with editing and everything. Right. I know that I'm in the process with a poem that I wrote. I have to first copyright the poem, then I have to read it out loud, make sure I'm reading it properly in Italian over and over and over again, because Italian's not my native language at all. I'm learning it. I'm in the process of learning it. And then do the audio recording, do the video just for that 1 30-second reel. It's going to take me a few days just for that specific content, writing out the caption. Anyway, it's quite an undertaking. Yeah.
Well, and I think people just look at a 30-second reel and you're like, oh, okay, that took you 30
Yeah.
seconds. And it's like, well, no, it took so much more of it. There, there's the huge debate of like, are content creators even like a real job? And I'm like, sometimes my podcast and my content for my social media is more demanding than my teaching job. Like, and that's just, it's crazy to think that.
Yeah.
So as a mom, how do you balance the demands of family life with running multiple businesses? Do you have any non-negotiables for like self-care rituals or that you like?
There's so many things that I would love to do with the business, but I know at least right now, my children, come first. My family comes first, and making sure that they're, active with what they're doing as far as their extracurriculars, checking in on them in school. I mean, I love this. We have an app for the school. It's like called Parent Portal, and constant contact with their teachers. My daughter's doing a birthday party, so that's at the forefront. So no matter what, my children always come first. It is tricky though. I do travel right now a lot more than usual, which is interesting. I'm traveling now. Usually it was every 6 weeks. Now it's every 4 weeks. I'm traveling. It looks like for this year, we have I have trips lined up all the way through July already, which is that's a lot. And I'm trying to just be very, very mindful of, all of these opportunities, though they're wonderful, is to make sure that they're, that they're okay. Because like, for instance, little things where I was in Manhattan today, son forgot his laptop. Once again, that's not my fault. Anyway, it's a yes to remember, but, you feel, you feel bad, you wish you were there to, as silly as it sounds, bring the iPad to him at school. And I just want to make sure that they are well taken care of, and then some.
Yeah. So let's get a little more into the East End Taste magazine. It's, a go-to resource for the Hamptons and beyond. What's been the most surprising thing you've learned about maybe your audience and kind of creating it over the years?
Yes, it's definitely to be very mindful of your audience and really what they want to read and learn about. And what's really cool is I was chatting with someone else the other day about different potential editorial pieces that we could be working on the website. We do what's been popular for a while are our day trip stories, our day guides for Long Island. We want to expand on that more. If you like this XYZ, you must do this, but more from a creative approach. So I was just pitched the idea to do like a Great Gatsby Long Island tour, not only article, but just series of articles like dining, going at what would almost like a what would Great Gatsby do on Long Island, which I thought was really cool. And then I'd like to expand that into different regions different regions across New York. So like what would, say like Teddy Roosevelt, for instance, had a place here on Long Island. Where would he like to go? Like little things like that, like more of a creative approach to it. Yeah. And then, we do a lot of coverage going back to Austria, doing more coverage there. Like where would, like, as silly as this, like where would Mozart go if you were still alive? Like little things like that, like being very, very creative outside the box. You don't see that a lot. So thinking,
I love that.
Taking it from a creative standpoint.
That's cool. You should look. I live in Bucks County in Pennsylvania, like right outside of Philadelphia, but they have a lot of history. They do on Christmas Day. We go to the crossing of Washington at Washington Crossing. And so, that's where he did it right, like 15 minutes from us. But there's a ton of history in this area with George Washington and all of those. That would just be not too far from New York.
Are you near a
cool area? So that is like about an hour from me. I'm closer to like New Hope, Doylestown. Yes. I don't know if you know where any of those are. Like, we're kind of close to there. We're pretty close to there. Yeah. So I feel like in content creation, I'm always trying to stay ahead of the trend, but how do you stay ahead of the trend for a magazine with like I feel like everything is just ever evolving with food, travel, luxury. How do you stay ahead of all that?
It definitely is. Thinking about once again, like what people, it could be something as simple as like what do people love, what do people gravitate to, and to say once again, sticking with the basics. I mean, we just did some real sometimes you're just so in the moment when you go to these hotel or you go to these destinations, or even just being in the Hamptons doing content. And the idea could spark right then and there, and you're just in this moment. And it's quite incredible, the content you can get. So for instance, this is funny. Just going back for a little while ago, we did a reel of a fish being deboned. And I thought that was so cool. Like, oh my God, I said to the guy, stop. So I said, anyone else ordering fish like that has to be deboned? So I set up the camera.
Wait, let me get that.
Actually, I felt like I was in St. Martin on the French side, and they rolled out this like incredible cheese flat, like on a, I mean, I was quite something else, all on a cart, and I just did content there, and it took off. People love that you never like all those unexpected moments, as opposed to things that thinking about that are so planned. Another one, I was in Mexico once, and this guy brought. We didn't even know that this drink came with special effects and lights the thing on fire, or it does a whole thing there. I just sat there with my phone and bam, that was it. The one thing for my personal page, I don't know, people love to see my sassy side. Every now and then I'll get on stories and I'll share something, and people love that about me, that I'm just, very, very, not, I'm direct, but, but also with like a little cheeky side. But people want to see more of that. So I may bring a little bit of that back, because people love my honest, direct, no nonsense approach to things. And they love when people write to me, they'll be like, oh, I love the sassy Vanessa, or I love the,
Well, it's refreshing, because I feel as though so much of social media is just like this perfect everything. And people really, I feel like, are leaning into the realness of what is happening. And that, I think, will get you the most.
It's because we lack, generally speaking, that person-to-person interaction. We crave that. So when there's these oops moments, or these moments that we could easily relate to, that's what's driving the traffic and the interest, as opposed to these perfect photos or perfect videos of what I wore this week. And I'm like, that's great. You wore that. You look so perfect in each slide. God.
Meanwhile, everyone's like laying in their bed, and
people love those, like,
watching
was it with the expectation versus reality? I love those. Those never get old. It's so true.
I know. I love watching them too. Just in because you're like, okay, this makes me feel better about myself.
Exactly.
This person is normal.
That's it.
So let's talk a little bit about the Hamptons Interactive Brunch. It's such like a unique concept. What kind of created the event, the idea behind it? How has it evolved since its inception?
What's so cool is I wanted to figure out a way at the time to put East End Taste, out there. How do I get my name out there? How do I get who I am? How do I explain to people, what East End Taste is? But then I thought, okay, well, I work in media. I know that, for instance, I was being pitched, other publications do a lot, do some events out here. They did more. There's one, Dance Papers does their Dance Taste of Summer events, which are wonderful. And I've been going to those for a number of years, and they've evolved. But naturally, I've noticed, though, other publications aren't going to cover another publication's event. So when Dance does their events, if it's because only if a high profile celebrity is there, you're going to get maybe like New York Post or, and the like. So I said, well, what's going to make people? So I said, you know what? I have to think of another name. I have to think of a separate name. So then, though it's under the East End Taste umbrella, it's more approachable from a media standpoint. So that's how I thought, it takes place in the Hamptons. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to align it necessarily with the location, but I realized that the Hamptons in and of itself is so marketable. And we're going to do the events here anyway, every summer. Why not call it the Hamptons? The interactive component, I was like, the Hamptons brunch. And I'm like, does that make people sit down and eat brunch? There's more to it. There isn't. And then all of a sudden I was talking out loud to someone. I said, well, there's an interactive component that I stopped. And I'm like, done. Hamptons Interactive Brunch. Easy. Hip. Done.
Right.
So that was that.
So So what can people expect at this brunch, and what do you think your favorite part of the
Yeah,
day is?
what I love to is what the feedback that I get is that they love the people that they meet at these events. I would say a good 80, actually, well, this year is a little bit different because we had such a surge of ticket sales through my friends at WABC when they did so, or just chatting about it organically on the radio. We had a tremendous amount of ticket sales come through, which was tremendous help there. So I'm very appreciative of them for that. But with that being said, is most of these people that usually attend are people that I know personally, or in some indirectly in the sense that they're familiar with me and the brand, but they've never, not necessarily attended an event yet. But what's really cool is they know that each of the vendors and the brands involved are all hand selected by me. And they're great relationships I've had for a number of years. And these are, even in the gift bag. I mean, the gift bags alone, I think our retail value this year was like close to $2,800 each bag. The retail value, yeah, it's unreal. And you don't see gift bags like these. And why do I do that? Is what is so memorable about the event, and that in and of itself takes hundreds of hours. I'm not making this up. And when I say hundreds of hours, it takes like 200-300 hours easily, or more. And I'm not including my my assistant stuffing the bags. We're very, very keen. We don't just throw like the gift cards in. We don't throw the how do you say, the promotional cards in. Right. We actually take clips and clip them all together and organize them based on the smaller coupons on the top, and then the marketing materials on the bottom. So it's not just all thrown in. They get bent, and that's not doesn't look nice.
Right.
All the large items are on the bottom. I told them very, very specific, making sure nothing in there can melt or leak. I literally put my finger on like we got hair gel, and I touched every 200 of these, making sure it wasn't leaking. And we found, I think, 5 or 6 that were leaking, and we figured it out. Yeah, right. Very, very, very meticulous job.
Gosh. Yeah, but I'm sure people just, I mean, a gift bag can't go wrong with, but a special gift bag like that is like,
still have,
people are probably talking about it.
I still have mine on, besides the items that, that, the chips and the grill that are going to, expired like 6 months later, those been eaten, but, but I still have I'm like in my little, and I look at it, I go, oh, look at that. I love it. I don't want to touch it. Oh. It's so pretty.
I know. You're like
my little display case.
I love that.
Yeah.
So in your world, it's all about luxury. How do you define really true fulfillment, and what really brings you joy?
That's so fascinating. And I talk about this a lot in the sense that I'm truly so grateful for all of the opportunities that have come my way. I'm so blessed that I go on trips that, these are once in a lifetime trips, and I don't take it for granted at all. I'm very extraordinarily appreciative of everything that's come my way. And I have these moments every single time I arrive at a destination, a resort, whatever it may be, and I'm just in awe. And I really take the time to savor every moment. I don't take anything for granted. And it's a shame, when people do, it's like, oh, it's almost like expected. I don't expect anything. Even tomorrow's not, nothing is granted. And I truly am, but also that too are the relationships that I've built over the years of all of these places that I've visited. I love that I could text people everywhere from Innsbruck in Austria to Los Cabos in Mexico, and be like, hey, have you been, we're still talking to this, on a regular basis. Oh, when are you coming back? This, that, and sometimes I'll surprise people believe it or not, I'm coming back. I didn't think I came. It's not I was just in Barbados in December. Now it looks like I'm going back next month. I never would have expected to go back to Barbados that quickly. That's a shock. I've had moments too where I was in Ireland one year, and then I'm 4 months later, I'm back again. You never know, and I love that about this. You never know which destinations are going to come about.
What do you think your favorite place you've traveled to?
Yeah, recently, gosh, I absolutely love Vienna. Vienna, I think, is my favorite city, is truly my favorite city. And I hear that a lot from people who regularly travel through Europe, that Vienna truly is it's clean, very easy to get around. People are great. Food's great. The scene, everything. top of the line. I do love Tuscany a lot. You hear that destination, spoken about. Was at a beautiful property there recently. Had a phenomenal time there in Montepulciano. Absolutely beautiful. And I love the countryside of France. I was in a half hour south of Limoges, which is about I would say 2 to 3 hour train ride or so from Paris, give or take. Absolutely beautiful in these little villages that are about 10, 15 minutes apart, and you'll be walking through the cow pasture, so to say, and you'll come across these little condensed
Right.
villages. Absolutely beautiful there. It's funny, I don't speak, I speak French probably better than I speak Spanish, but don't even speak it that well. That says how well my Spanish
Right.
is. I get there and, I love it. I love that I'm like so far away from home and
That's
nobody
awesome.
knows who I am. I
Yeah.
love,
It's probably
yes, it
nice
is.
to be like, amongst no one. Those are the best. I feel like that's when I like thrive, when I'm by myself traveling somewhere, and like I could just be, I don't know, like my whole personality, I feel like comes out, because you're not like trying to impress anyone, or,
Yes.
you're just there enjoying. I love that. So building multiple brands, it's no easy feat. What has been your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
Yes, it was learning how to monetize. I mean, there's one thing about doing something that you love, but then there's something about now making money
Mhm.
doing it. And that was,
Right.
that was not easy in the beginning, because I was utilizing, we're like, well, what am I, like, I was almost afraid to put a price on something,
Mhm.
but it came, what the turning point was is when I started to have to hire people for projects to assist and support, to help grow the business. And I realized what those fees were. I'm going, whoa, wow, okay. And then realizing my value, or the value of the business.
Right.
And
Because you're paying
yeah,
them, and
and you're like,
so people are going to pay you
yeah.
for sure.
So you're in the situation, but I think I have to redo my price points because this doesn't align. So it was hard. I'll be honest. It was tough because it was so, for the first time, but that was the first time I actually had to put a price on something. I was always
Mhm.
hired for, like, okay, you're going to be paid XYZ, and you had to figure out if that was fair or not, or reasonable. So that
Right.
was tough, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that is hard. What advice would you give to other moms who are dreaming of launching their own business, but maybe feel overwhelmed, or feeling the imposter syndrome, or
Yeah.
feeling that they're not worth what they're
Well, first
worth?
off, you are worth it. This is not easy. It's not easy. Don't listen to, they say, oh, there's the easy route. Oh, do this. It's not, none of it. I will guarantee nothing worth
Mhm.
it is easy. There are no easy routes. They don't exist. Building web traffic. Oh, if you just a few buttons. No, that's nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. So please don't listen to anyone that tries to give you some sort of easy route. Like, oh, if take this course for 30 days, you'll have all the, no. I mean, yeah, you could do that. That
Yeah.
might help to a certain degree, but there's nothing more empowering than educating yourself. So make sure that, not only you're educating yourself, but make sure you're getting second and third opinions as well. Do your homework, do your research thoroughly. Don't take
Yeah.
anything for face value.
That's great advice. Just ask one more question. If you could sum up your journey in one word, what would it be, and why?
Oh my gosh. So just in general, it's been so humbling, truly. I'm just extraordinarily grateful for all of the opportunities that have come my way. And what I love too is no day is the same. I love that, and I love meeting new
Yeah.
people. I absolutely love it. There's so many opportunities around every corner.
That's great. Well, that's going to be a great place to end it. So that is going to bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. A huge thank you to Vanessa for joining us and sharing her wealth of knowledge about travel, lifestyle, and the magic of the Hamptons. From family travel tips to creating events that leave a lasting impact, Vanessa's story reminds us all that the power of pursuing our passions while staying grounded in what truly matters. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it. You can follow me on Instagram at @therunningwinemom_. And Vanessa, where can the listeners find you?
Yes, EastEndTasteMagazine.com, East End Taste on most major social media platforms. And for me personally, Vanessa P. Gordon on Instagram and VanessaPGordon.com.
Perfect. And I will link all that. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vanessa, for joining today. This
Always
was
a pleasure.
great. So thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.